Alrighty guys, welcome back to a new video today. So we are on my Streetfighter V4. Just to tell you a little about this bike, this was my second street bike. I sold my 2013 Ninja ZX6R, and I didn't really want a Ducati. Obviously I had an interest in it, but it wasn't one of the, I don't know. I don't really know what I wanted, but I kind of broke my arm last September, and the sport bike was killing my arm. It was brutal to ride because I got a plate put in my arm, and you guys know, sport bikes, you're leaning over, all the weight's on your arms and back and neck and everything. So I did want a naked bike, and the bike that I wanted was a 2024 MT-09. I went up to the dealer. I'm like, hey, what can I do to get a test ride on one of these? Because I have no idea about this thing. I've rode a MT-07, that's about it. The MT-09s were a little ugly looking, but I liked the sound. I liked that they had cruise control. I liked that they had LED headlights. Was a big thing because I was riding a 2013 Ninja. I didn't have LED headlights, so that was a little weird to me. Well, it wasn't weird to me. It was just like new, and that's what I wanted because I couldn't see anything at night with my ZX6. And as I said in the other video, I love technology on a bike, whether it's stupid or really nice. The MT-09 was going to be the bike. However, I messaged the guy, and the dealer also wouldn't let me test ride it because they said I wasn't serious or whatever, so I didn't really know what that meant because I was pretty serious. And I messaged the guy on an MT-09. He didn't reply, and so the next day, this Ducati popped up for sale. And obviously I had to jump on it because I was super interested, and it just had every mod that I wanted. I didn't exactly jump on it right away though. I messaged the guy and said, hey man, sell me on this thing. I don't know why I would want a Ducati. I don't know why I would want a 1000. And he kind of told me everything about it. He said it's pretty great on maintenance actually. It's not horrible. It's like $500 a year. However, that maintenance, they go through everything. They're going to do chain maintenance, they're going to do an oil change, they're going to make sure everything else is good with the bike. They scan it with their computer, they do it all. So I'm like, okay, that's not horrible. I go, has the bike had any issues? Have you ever had it not run? Any problems where you'd had to run it into the shop? He said, no, this is a very well maintained bike, and never had an issue with it whatsoever. He said out of all the bikes he's had, this has been the most reliable. So I'm like, okay, there's the second strike, that's perfect. So I said, we ended up talking a little more, and I said, hey man, the only way that I'm going to buy this is if I can test ride it. Would you be willing to do a test ride? And I was like, kind of hoping that he would say no, because I really didn't want to buy a Ducati, just because you hear all the misconceptions about the horror stories and the maintenance on them, how it's horrible. You hear that they're great bikes and high-performing bikes, but you hear that they're very expensive to maintain. However, I go and test ride this thing because he said yes, and I was surprised. And right away I knew. We pulled up to his house, and I'm just looking at the thing. I'm like, this thing's gorgeous. It has the full forged carbon where all the plastics would be on a stock V4. And it also has the Akrapovic system. And that's something I would not spend the money on, because you guys know I think it's about $6,000 to get that all installed and such, and it's just it's a beautiful exhaust. It wraps around basically the whole entire motor the way they run them. And so anyways, do the test ride, get out there. First thing I noticed, absolutely smooth. It's the smoothest bike I've ever been on. And the quick shifter, the auto blipper, I don't know if you guys have ever rode a Ducati, but it's the smoothest thing ever. Even compared to my R1 now, the R1 shifts a little harder than the Ducati. And the next thing I noticed was the sound. It was just the craziest sound. You guys can probably tell in the video. I don't know how it's going to sound because I'm still working on my microphone setup with my DJI mic 2 and placement of the mic and everything. So we'll see how it sounds. But we get done with the test ride, and I'm like just like so blown away by this thing. I'm like, all right, dude, will you take a wire transfer? I'll just buy it today. And he said, yeah. And I went home with it. It was the best purchase I've ever made, and it's just the perfect bike for me. Doesn't hurt my arms, doesn't hurt my back. got all the power you could ever need. 3 different riding modes that are all fully adjustable. And traction control, wheelie control, slide control, any control you could want. It's got ABS that you can change. It's just the perfect bike. So I got it with, I believe, 3,200 miles on it. I believe it has 4,700 on it now. I could be wrong about the starting mileage, but it was pretty low mileage, had 2 owners. And typical Ducati, you know, lots of people buy these bikes, not a lot of people ride them. And there's a lot of misconceptions about them. These are, like, I could see it, a lot of people buy these as like trophy bikes to store in their house and stuff. Just the get up and go is crazy on this thing. But this has had 2 owners and it didn't even have 3,000 miles on. Like, it was just barely over 3,000 miles. And that's just crazy to me because I've had it for 2 months and put so many miles on it, which I hate to, because, you know, I'm never going to build something the same as this. I might, who knows? We don't know what the future is going to bring, but I love my Ducatis already. I'll probably have another one. I don't know. It's so expensive to build it the way this one's built. The other interesting thing about this, I'm in first gear right now, but if I went to neutral and the bike was hot, it would have the cylinder deactivation where it would shut off the back 2 cylinders to cool down. It's really interesting because then you shift it into first again and it just kind of starts up the back 2 cylinders. Other thing about this bike, it gets a lot of looks. It's a very bright red. Looks like the Ferrari red. Curious to put it on a dyno this summer at Throttle Thursday because allegedly they make 208. I don't know if that's crank or wheel horsepower. I'd assume it's crank. And with this tune, allegedly it makes 8 more horsepower after the tune. So it's the Krapovich tune that comes with the exhaust, which is very interesting because not a lot of exhausts come with the tune, which they should, because there's really no point to an exhaust besides sound, which I get it. Sound is a great thing because stock bikes sound like nothing, and I prefer a loud bike, not noisy, but a good sounding bike. And to really show off this Ducati V4, you got to have an exhaust on it. Ooh. I just stalled it somehow. That's weird. The clutch was all the way in. That was interesting. You guys saw I had the clutch in too. Might have done it a little late because I've somehow caught myself with the quick shifter and the clutch, and I must have quick shifted down to first too slowly without the clutch. But what I will say about this bike compared to a 600 is the low RPMs. You guys know, if you've ever ridden a leader bike, they're kind of terrible down low. They don't have any lugging ability. Like, they just want to go. The R1's pretty bad at it. This one's pretty bad. And it's hard to ride them under 15 miles per hour because they just kind of want to stall, especially the R1. R1s make a lot of power on top of their power band, so that's kind of why it is the way it is. But yeah, I never stall this bike. That's pretty interesting. Of course, I catch it on video. But yeah, it's a gorgeous day. It's 50 degrees. I'm in my Carhartt because it's supposed to get up to 64 degrees today. There's not supposed to be too much wind. Yesterday was windy. It was like 40-mile-an-hour winds, I swear. I was a little nervous that something broke on the bike, and I was like, great. Right as I talk about reliability, it shuts off because I really swore I had the clutch in, but installed it myself. So yeah, then the only other option that I put on this bike was the Moto Dynamic tail tidy. Guy before me had a tail tidy, but it wasn't a full low profile tail tidy. It still had the turn signal. The turn signals would hang off the sides, and it was kind of a weird looking deal. So I got the Moto Dynamic one that kind of leaves the plate right on the subframe, and then it makes the brake light the turn signals also, which is what I've done on my ZX6, or what it had on my ZX6. And I also like the fact that the brake lights flash 3 times before going solid. I think that's a safety thing. I think it's great because drivers can see you, and Moto Dynamic lights are very bright, so it's a good safety measure for me to have on this bike. You guys can hear the cylinder deactivation there. The other thing I really like about this, and I don't think you'll be able to tell with the camera, is the mirrors. You can see everything behind me and to the left and right lanes of me, and it's perfect because it makes me feel so comfortable being able to see all 3 lanes. Yeah, one of these videos I'll have to go through and show you guys the screen and all the modes that you can be in. Right now we're riding in sport mode with traction control on a level 4. I do need a rear tire on this bike. It does not hook up very well. However, I was riding it in the cold, which I feel like can also make it not hook up as well. With cold pavement, I feel like tires just don't hook up as great. You can get it warmed up as much as you want, but with the cold pavement, it's still going to slide. So we'll be getting a new tire on here soon, and then we'll be able to really showcase the power of this beast and the sound of this beast, because it is really, truly amazing what it sounds like. Not only on the bike, but when you're on the side of the road or something and you hear one of these, it's just the most unique sound ever. But yeah guys, this is our second video. If you haven't watched our first one on the R1, go check it out for sure. We're going to have a lot more content this summer. We're going to have a lot of shorts, a lot of exciting group rides, and I don't know, maybe we'll convince the boys to go to the track once. I would enjoy going to the track because I'm coming from motocross, and I'd be curious what it's like to be at an actual road course, because I have no idea what to expect. Now, do I want to ride a 1000 there? Not necessarily. I'd rather ride a 400, a Ninja 400 or a ZX4R. I think a 1000 is a bit much for a track, and it wouldn't be as fun because you'd be in the same 2 gears the whole track, so we'll just see. So yeah guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you liked the video. We're going to have a lot more to come. Ross is going to get his camera going. He kind of does the shorts right now, which is fine. I just kind of got my camera set up working right. So yeah, stay tuned, like the video, share it with your friends if you enjoyed it.